Hello there gamers, I am back. Now I basically just posted a 10-minute long analysis on Life is Strange, and yeah, I want to do the full series. So yeah, this doesn't require much explanation. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing I did with the first game, but I'm going to be talking about its prequel, Life is Strange Before the Storm. Life is Strange Before the Storm is a prequel to Life is Strange, if you couldn't tell from the name. We don't play as Max here, in fact she's barely in it. She only appears in some flashbacks and a bonus chapter at the end. No, we play as Chloe here, and I do quite like that, as Chloe was always the most interesting character and has the deepest story. The only slight problem I have with this is that most of the backstory we get is stuff we already know, but this was still a very fun game to go through. This game takes an extremely different tone to the original. Everything is themed around indie punk, as opposed to the first game with its hipster tone. And I gotta say, while I did like the tone of the original, I think I prefer this game's tone. The original occasionally came off as slightly cringy with the dialogue. Nothing too bad, just very mild. But in my opinion, the gameplay in this game is downgraded significantly. The story goes for a much more slice of life style here, which makes gameplay a little less interesting and exciting. Like, the first game constantly kept me hooked because you were always wondering about the deep mystery of it all that you were constantly working to. But of course I did enjoy this game, and it's still very fun and distinct. But I once again must state, please stay away from this game if you are sensitive to dark themes and or 12, please and thank you. The game opens with Chloe trying to get into a nightclub, which also happens to be a barn. Yeah. We have to try and convince the bouncer to let us in, and here we are introduced to this game's superpower. Yeah, because you could time travel in the original, I guess the developers wanted the game to have some sort of interesting mechanic, so arguing it is. We have to insult the bouncer till he gets upset enough to let us in. I'm not kidding. Eventually we do make it inside and have a grand old time, until we meet some thugs. Oh no! But then we are rescued by none other than Rachel Amber, the girl who went missing in the first game and was later found dead. Later we get some fun exposition and we get shouted at by our mum and our stepdad for being a delinquent. Then we're back in school and we play some D&D with some nerds. That was honestly my favourite part of the entire game. So then once again we meet up with Rachel Amber and we decide to bunk off school together. We get a very heartwarming scene with a banger of a song, which I can't play because of copyright, but basically just look up Life is Strange Before the Storm train music, thank me later. So then we go and spy on some people using the park binoculars. And as soon as we see this couple kissing, Rachel starts acting a little off. Eventually she fully shouts at us at a junkyard and then storms off, no pun intended. We have a little temper tantrum before she confronts us and says that the man at the park was her dad, and the woman with him was not. And in sadness, she starts a forest fire. But hey, at least we're friends again. We are then told off by the principal, and eventually we use our expert arguing skills and take the blame for Rachel. And we get expelled. Cool. Later we end up in the school play when Victoria Chase drugs herself by accident. So we end up taking her place. Cool. As we're walking home, Rachel proposes that we run away. So we head back to her place to pack up, but unfortunately we end up having a very heated dinner with her family. Eventually we argue with her dad until he starts explaining who that woman was. I don't know how to phrase this next part, so I'll just play the clip.
Rachel, that woman you saw, that wasn't my mistress. That was your mother.
Yeah, Rachel's mother is not her mother. Her real mum left her when she was a baby because of a hardcore drug addiction. Her father couldn't keep her safe with her mum bringing in drug dealers in the house all the time. This was where the game definitely peaked in being interesting. We then go and ask our drug friend about Rachel's mother, and he just had to bring a crazy dude with a knife with him. And what do you know, Rachel gets stabbed and is now in hospital. You know what, thanks a lot Frank, you really helped out there. You know, you really need to get some better friends. Eventually we go into the nightclub slash barn and we see Rachel's mother tied up by none other than Mr. McStabby over here. Then Frank comes over and beats him up for us. A redemption arc, if you will. We talk to Rachel's mother and she requests that we leave Rachel out of everything as she doesn't feel that she can be a mother. And then we go and tell Rachel the news, and honestly she takes it surprisingly well. Then we have a fun montage of them right before the first game. So fun in fact, we see her getting kidnapped. Again, fun. And that's pretty much the whole game. I pretty much managed to say every single thing that happened in this game since, well, this game is significantly shorter than the original. In fact, this game is 3 chapters when the original was 5. While I do think this game is really good and still fun the whole way through, I don't think it's as impactful or really as interesting. I get it's going for a completely different tone, but like with the first game you were constantly working towards a great mystery, but this game goes for much more slice of life gameplay, and I must admit, I did prefer my time with the first game. So that about wraps up this video, and yeah, you bet I'm going to be making a video about Life is Strange 2. See you then.